Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about notes and homework here on Inequalities Day 2. Let's take one more day to look at these inequalities so that we can solve them and graph them. Okay? We're going to look at problem number 1 to start with. I've got 8 plus m all divided by 2 less than or equal to 10. Remember, when one side of your inequality, the whole thing is a fraction, we get rid of that denominator first. Since this is division, the inverse would be to multiply by the denominator. Parentheses go around what's already there, and we're going to multiply both sides by that 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now that that is gone, what I have left is 8 plus m less than or equal to 20. Okay? Now, how do I get rid of the 8? Well, here's my variable. I'm going to leave it alone. Get rid of the other thing. What do I have? A positive 8 or a plus 8. The inverse of that would be to subtract it from the opposite side, minus 8. That's now 0. M is less than or equal to 12. Okay, that's good. That's our answer here, but now we have to graph it because there is way more than one answer less than or equal to 12. So that's why we graph inequalities, to show where the answers are. Now, this is less than or equal to, so I have a closed circle. Okay, on 12, so I'm going to find 12, I'm going to close it. Less than means I go left, so I'm going to shade to the left. Okay, and you should have your notes in front of you from day 1 if you need those, in order to help remind you what we've got going on here. So I'm going to close circle, and I'm going to shade left. Okay, just as a reminder. Okay, let's look at number 4 now together. As we look at number 4, okay, I've got negative 8 minus 2r greater than or equal to 18. Here's my variable, which is my r. Okay, so it's being multiplied to the negative 2, so I'm going to leave that alone for right now. And get rid of this minus 8. Cover that up so you can see what you're working with. I'm working with a minus 8. The inverse is to add 8 to the other side, so that's what I'm going to do. Negative 8. My apologies. I don't want to rewrite that because I was just thinking the reason I wrote that is because if you want to rewrite the problem down here so that you can work it out, that's perfectly fine. But I added 8 to the other side, so that's a 0. Negative 2r greater than or equal to 26. Okay? Now, how do I get rid of this negative 2? Well, I'm going to divide by it, and both sides if you need to, and bring down your inequality. So now, negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a positive r. 12 divided by negative 2 is a negative 13. Now, I divided by a negative. What happens to that inequality? It flips. When you divide by a negative, it flips the inequality. So this is my final answer. Okay, let's look at it. It has the equal to part, so that means it is a closed circle. Okay. And which way am I going to shade? Less than is left. Okay, so I'm going to go to negative 13. Now, it's not written on here, but is there a negative 13? Yes, because my numbers are counting by 2's. Negative 10, negative 12, negative 14. So where's negative 13? Right in between negative 12 and negative 14. And again, I'm going to shade to the left. Okay, so you can't tell you're shading by the original problem. You have to wait till you have your final answer. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to do one more practice here on number 6. So let's look at number 6 here. This is where the variable is on the right hand side. So let's remind ourselves how we need to work that. I've got x divided by 15 minus 6. Now here's my x, and I do have a fraction here. However, is the entire problem on the right hand side a fraction? No, it is not. So cover that up. What I have here is minus 6. How do I get rid of it? I'm going to add 6 over here. Okay? So now, negative 7 plus 6 is a negative 1 greater than x over 15. Because remember, I got rid of that, so now that's a 0. Now, x divided by 15. What's the inverse? Multiply by the denominator. Put parentheses around what's already there and multiply by that 15 on both sides. 15 divided by 15 is positive 1. X, bring down your inequality symbol just like it is. Leave the x on the side it started on. Bring down your inequality just like it is. I did not divide by negative, so I just keep it the way it is. And 15 divided by negative 1 is a negative 15. As a reminder, we don't graph it in this form. I'm going to switch the answer and the variable, and if I switch that variable and the answer, then I also have to switch the inequality so it still says the same thing. X less than negative 15, x less than negative 15. Okay, so no equal to part, so the answer is not included. So I have an open circle. And again, it's less than, so we're going to shade left. I promise you they don't all shade left. It just kind of looks like that. So negative 15, again, not written on there, but it is between negative 14 and negative 16. Open circle, shade to the left. Okay? Any questions? Turn to the back. Okay. And let's just do one back here as a reminder. Number 11. Okay. I've got variables on both sides because when I look for them, this is where I find them, right there. Okay. So I'm going to move the 2m over here. I'm going to subtract 2m here, subtract 2m here, that's a 0. Negative 2 plus 6 is a 4m. And as a reminder, I can move things at the same time with variables on both sides if I just have this situation. So instead of minus 3, I'm going to add 3. That's my 0. So my m's are on one side. I'm going to add 3 over here. And I've got less than negative 4. So when I look at number 11, 4m less than negative 4. Again, if this does not make sense to you in one step, please continue to work it one step at a time. Now I'm going to divide by 4. 4 goes into 4, positive 1 times m. Now, I know there's a negative here. Negative 4 divided by positive 4. But remember, what I do is always on the bottom, and I am not dividing by a negative, so it is still less than. Keep that in mind. Only when the number you're dividing by, the one on the bottom, is negative, then and only then do you flip that inequality. So I'm going to go to negative 1, and again it is an open circle. And again, it is shading left. So, open circle on negative 1, shade to the left. Okay. Your homework is to answer all the evens. Evens 2 through 20. Okay?